Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, so look, the next move was made on the chessboard. Yes, already a response to what the UN did by kicking out Russia. And the voting that was done over here for more sanctions on Russia by our own senators, Russia went ahead and made the next move. Now already we've seen the ruble start to go up in value slightly to the point where they had to unpeg the 5,000 rubles to the 1 gram of gold. I don't know why they did that. I would have just left it there. But the value of the ruble had changed. That's what we're being told. They're still on the gold standard, except for there's no gold pegged to any amount of currency, which is not good, to be honest with you. You want to know what the parameters are. What are we dealing with here? You know, how many dollars to how much weight of gold? That's what you need to have for it to be a legitimate gold standard. Right now, they said they're just negotiating. Still in the gold standard, somewhat, but not in the real gold standard, in my opinion. I also said in the video, where the hell is China if they're supporting Russia after Russia's going through all this hell? How come they're not being vocal? How come they're not being verbal? Well, did China finally come out today? We're going to find out. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, and right now is the perfect time, go check out our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you'll get a free ½ ounce of silver. So the exchange rate on the Russian ruble today is at 0.12. So it went down a click. It was up to 0.013. Not much of a difference, but the point is the ruble is definitely strengthening up. So the ruble was gaining strength, and although the media might have you believe otherwise, right here is a perfect example. Illusionary. Nah, you got to understand that they're going to try to control the gold market as much as possible to help affect the exchange rate for the Russian ruble. They can't have the world seeing that Russia is actually getting a stronger currency. That would show you that their sanctions aren't very effective now, is it? Anyways, we know earlier today that the Senate voted to do some more sanctions. Russia also got suspended, I guess is the best way to say it, from NATO. These countries that are all part of this Great Reset, all their leaders campaigning and pressuring other countries to fall in line or else. And so getting them to vote against Russia. But I don't think it's having the same kind of effect that it would normally, because some countries, and they're big ones, are resisting and not believing what's going on, nor should you. So yeah, the currency exchange rate for the Russian ruble to the $1 US. So 1 ruble is equivalent to just over 1 cent of US dollars. Take a look at gold. It's at $1,946.70. That's the close of today on Friday. So it's up $15.15. Don't expect to see any really major changes in gold and ruble right away. You got to give us some time for this to get kicked in. That's why I'm saying I'm curious to see what's going to happen to the ruble and gold over the summer, barring any assassination of Putin. This is going to be a fun tug of war to watch back and forth. It's definitely a chess game. There's no doubt about it. So after being placed on suspension with NATO and removing it from their top trade status, Russia responds. Here we go. China's yuan is replacing the dollar and the euro in Russian bank accounts amid Western sanctions, the report says. It says Russian banks say clients are opening more accounts in Chinese yuan instead of other currencies. And we knew this day was coming. A March survey found that the large Russian banks have seen a spike in funds being converted into the yuan. See, China's loving this. They want this fight with Russia because they're trying to be the dominant currency. And with the United States using the SWIFT system to bully people around, you're getting a lot of countries that are becoming resentful of this. According to a March survey conducted in Russia's financial daily Commercant, large banks have seen a spike in funds being converted from dollars and euros into the yuan. So as more and more countries turn away from the US dollar and send them back, the weaker our dollar becomes. And we've already seen it. The value of the dollar is dropping. And Tinkoff Bank, the volume of account funds in yuan has gone up eightfold. MTS Bank saw a fourfold jump, and the Bank of St. Petersburg increased by 3.5%. Under the conditions of restrictions, many companies see settlements in yuan as more stable and predictable. I wouldn't say that yuan is stable, that's for sure. That's another economy that's getting ready to crash with all those real estate development companies folding over. So they're most likely going to file bankrupt themselves. So I wouldn't have a whole lot of faith in the yuan. You're better off filling your banks with just your local currencies. Anyways, it says, under the conditions of restrictions, many companies see settlements in yuan as more stable and predictable. MTS Bank told Commercant. Another Russian bank noted that many companies involved in wholesale trade are switching to settlements in yuan. Remember, Saudi Arabia said they will take yuan and rubles as payment for oil. No more petrodollar. The shift comes as Western countries continue to impose severe financial sanctions on Russia for its war on Ukraine, including limitations on foreign currency use. But since China has not participated in the wartime sanctions, access to the yuan remains open, making it a potential currency alternative. Yeah, that would help strengthen the yuan as well. And that's why China has no dog in this fight, and they're happy with what's going on. Russia financial consultant Yegor Aliyev told the Commercant that the sea change is underway. In the medium term, he said, the yuan will not only replace the dollar in the settlements with China, but also become a more reliable means of international settlements for Russian companies. But while transactions with the Chinese currency has grown, the dollar and euro remain dominant worldwide. Yeah, for now, but that's changing. We're already seeing that happen, and we're seeing the dollar lose its power. So last year, if you remember, when the announcement came from Putin that they had paid off the last of their debt to the central bank and the Rothschild family, and they kicked the Rothschilds out of there and took control of their own central bank, if you remember that. And as soon as that happened, I said, ooh, they don't like when that happens. Don't be surprised if a magical war don't pop up and they try to find a way to remove Putin. And magically, here we are. And the reason why I know this is because we have perfect examples of this. Look what happened to Gaddafi. Look what happened to Saddam Hussein, although I do believe Saddam should have been removed. But Gaddafi, my friend lived in Libya when this happened. She said he did great things for his people. And so, she was really saddened by it. And she was snapped at me. She didn't mean to, but at the same time, I didn't know any better. And it was a big lesson for me when it comes to the media. But just to show you what I'm talking about, let's take you down memory lane. Remember this? Pay attention to what happens when you try to get off the petrodollar.
According to some, it's about protecting civilians.
And our resolve is clear. The people of Libya must be protected.
Others say it's about oil.
The only reason they're interested with Libya is about the oil. You think we'd be in Iraq if the major export there?
Here's what gets me. You heard Obama. I got to interrupt this. Obama talk about it's all about the people. But they do nothing to go in there and save the Uyghurs from China. Whenever these politicians come out and say, oh, it's about liberating the people, it's about helping the people, it's never about the people. It's about whatever resources that country has that the United States wants access to, because if they didn't have resources, you'd never hear from them. Not only that, if that was the case, then how come they don't do it for everybody? Every country that has a problem, how come they don't interfere like they do these smaller countries? They should have went to China to do anything. They don't speak out against China. They don't badmouth China because they make way too much money off China. Let's get back into this.
But some are convinced intervention in Libya is all about currency, specifically Gaddafi's plan to introduce the gold dinar, a single African currency made from gold, a true sharing of the wealth.
It's one of these things that you have to plan almost in secret, because as soon as you say you're going to change over from the dollar to something else, you're going to be targeted.
You heard what the man said. As soon as you announce that you're getting away from the petrodollar, they will find a way to target you. They'll make up every excuse and then lie to the American people and say, hey, we're doing it for the better good. We're doing it for democracy. We're doing it for the humanity. It's never for those reasons.
96 and another one in the year 2000 called the World Mataba Conference, organized by Gaddafi. And everybody was interested. I think most countries in Africa were keen.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.
See what I mean? The United States is not keen on giving up its power. They love controlling the world. Weakening the dollar weakens their power. And that's exactly what this would have done. And see what happens when you try to get away from the petrodollar and go to the gold standard? That's what this is.
The UK has double that, but 10 times the population.
If Gaddafi had an intent to try to reprice his oil or whatever else the country was selling in the global markets and accept something else as a currency, or maybe launch a gold dinar currency, any move such as that would certainly not be welcomed by the power elite today who are responsible for controlling the world's central banks. So yes, that would certainly be something that would cause his immediate dismissal and the need for other reasons to be brought forth for removing him from power.
Sound familiar? That's what Putin's going through.
It's happened before. In 2000, Saddam Hussein announced Iraqi oil would be traded in euros, not dollars. Sanctions and an invasion followed. Some say because the Americans were desperate to prevent OPEC from transferring oil trading in all its member countries to the euro. A gold dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
The United States should welcome the self-determination of Africans. They certainly have denied self-determination to Africans inside the United States, so we're not surprised by anything that the United States would do to hinder self-determination of Africans on the continent.
The UK's gold is kept here in a secure vault somewhere in the depths of the Bank of England. As in most developed countries, there's not enough to go around. But that's not the case in places like Libya and many of the Gulf states. A gold dinar would have given oil-rich African and Middle Eastern countries the power to turn around to their energy-hungry customers and say, sorry, the price has gone up and we want gold. Some say the US and its NATO allies literally couldn't afford to let that happen. Laura Emmett, RT.
They can't afford to let that happen now. And before you guys say it, I can already hear it now. Oh, man, you're watching Russian propaganda. That's Russian TV. Yeah, it doesn't change the story. It's the truth, what they're talking about. Just because RT's reporting it doesn't make it false. There has been other world leaders that attempted this before. And just like Putin's going through, all of a sudden, we find something that we don't like and, they take an action and we jump up against them and we make them the bad people and we claim we got to get in there and remove them. See, that's easier for these smaller countries. But when you're dealing with somebody like Russia and China and India, now India's kind of neutral. And they've been bumping heads a lot with China. So it's interesting to see where they're going to stand on this. But you have two of the world's biggest countries, Russia and China, saying, we have had enough. We're going to go to the gold standard. And there's other countries that are talking about doing it too. If these Arab nations, like Iraq, decide to go to the gold dinar like Gaddafi wanted to, it changes everything. It brings the wealth back to the people where it belongs. But like that lady said, you see the NATO allies in the United States, they don't like giving up their power very much now, do they? So that's what the real struggle is. Don't believe all the hype in the media. Just take everything, whether it's from RT, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, whoever it's coming from. Just take it with a grain of salt and just realize there's tiny bits of truth maybe in there mixed in with a whole lot of BS. Anyways, let me know what you think. Is the dollar going to die? Is this the end of the dollar? Because it's already getting even weaker as we speak. And nations are talking. There's no doubt about it. Depending on what side of the line that's drawn you want to be on, those who support what Russia is doing, going to the gold standard, you should see them shift. Some of them anyway, sometime this summer. Depends on how long Putin stays alive. I'm sure China's doing everything they can to make sure that he stays alive. Because I think they want to go in the same direction as Russia. Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. I surely do appreciate it.